Nå skulle Suffocation vært på en siste Europa-runde med originalvokalist Frank Mullen, men på grunn av korona får vi trøst oss med et gammelt intervju i stedet. Jeg heter Helle Steinkløv, du hører på Jernverket podcast. Men før vi kjører intervju har jeg en beskjed til. For at Jernverket skal overleve som podcast trengs det midler, så jeg har vært frekk nok til å opprette en Patreon-side og en Vipps-konto. Hvis du vil bidra med noen slanter for å holde Jernverket flytende, hadde jeg satt stor pris på det. Du kan gi månedlig via Jernverket-sida på patreon.com/jernverket, eller gi en enkeltsum via Vipps-nummer 567438. Beløpet er selvsagt valgfritt. All informasjon står nederst i episodebeskrivelser med en lenke som fører deg rett til kassen. Igjen, tusen takk for alle bidragene så langt. Jeg klarer ikke dette uten deg. Med It's All Right her på Jernverket på Radio Rocks FM 90,1. Og på fredag i forrige vekka spilte det amerikanske death metal-bandet Suffocation konsert på Inferno-festivalen. I den forbindelse fikk jeg tatt en prat med vokalist Frank Mullen, og vi startet intervjuet med å snakke litt om hvordan bandet oppstod og om historikken til Suffocation. Det hele startet i 1988 eller 89 cirka, og vi kan jo egentlig bare høre på hva Frank hadde å fortelle om det.
You know, pretty much just like started the band, not knowing what was going to happen. You know, we were a bunch of kids that get together and you're playing and everything, and then it was like, okay, you know, we have enough material here, and it was also pieced up from different bands. Like me and Josh Barron, the original bass player, we had kind of like branched out on our own, and we had I came up with the name Suffocation over the Morbid Angel song, on Altars of Madness. So like I was like, oh yeah, that's it, that's the name of the band. So we had some different musicians, and on this side it was Terra Tobbs, Mike Smith, Doug Cerrito, this kid Billy Reyes, and Chris Basile, and they were in a band called Mortuary. Mortuary kind of like, you know, just stopped playing, and then we were still trying to push forward, and then once that happened, and like, you know, the members came over. So a lot of the songs from the very beginning of Suffocation were Mortuary songs. That's pretty much where it all started. We put out our first demo, again in like 1989, Recremation demo. Then we put out the Human Waste EP because we got picked up. Matt from Relapse, he was just starting out. Like we were his first band.
Oh, you were
on the late, yeah. Like he didn't have anything, and I remember like the deal was so like, you know, shitty and like crazy. You know, it was like, all right, you'll get like 500 albums like free. Like, and we were like, oh, sick, you know, because like back, you know, you don't know. We were like, so he put out Human Waste, and then from there, then it started. Then that's when it kind of like things started happening. Like we started shopping around at different labels, and we started getting interest from like Metal Blade, Central Media, and then Roadrunner hit us up. And at the time, we figured, you know, Roadrunner was definitely the biggest label, kind of like for, you know, really heavy music. They had Obituary, Exorder, DSI, you know, they had a lot of good bands on the label. So we went over to Roadrunner and put out our 3 albums, Effigy of the Forgotten, 91, Breathing Spawn was like 93, I think, and Pierce from Within was like 95, 96, somewhere around there. And then the band kind of like went through a like kind of like a splitting up. You know, I was married and stuff, so you know there was like tensions on this side. It was like, you know, like, you know, when are you gonna like, you know, stop doing the band stuff and da da da. And there was that going on. Plus, it was the scene at that point in like right around 2098. The death metal and you know hardcore, it started really dropping out. You know, people weren't attending shows anymore, like for whatever reason. It just, I'm forgetting, we threw in Despise the Sun at that point, because once we were on Roadrunner had dropped us then after Pierce from Within, and at that point a friend of mine, our manager from the very beginning, Jason Fligman, he wanted to set up like his own label. So we were like, all right, we'll help you out, and he was gonna like help us out because we didn't really have a label at that point. So we were like, let's just put out a small EP and just see, what kind of buzz it generates, and then maybe we'll get interest, from our labels or anything. So we put out the Despise the Sun EP, and that was in '98. So then pretty much right after that, 98, so like the late 90s, 2000, that's when the band pretty much separated, broke up, took a little hiatus or whatever. And then a few years later, I went through a divorce and everything, and then so I was kind of like, well, like that was crazy. Like I stopped doing something I enjoyed, and then now this. So I'm like, well, that just made no sense. I was like, really? I called up the guys and just started trying to get a feel. And pretty much, Mike Smith, Terrence Hobbs, they were definitely on board. I reached out to the other guys, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. They didn't get back to me. Guy Marché had been jamming with Mike at the time, and I played with him before. He was at the very beginning of Suffocation, so he was like, I'd definitely be interested. And so we pretty much got back together. Josh Barron came into the band as well, the original bass player. Didn't last too long. He's a little crazy and stuff, but that's when Derek came into the band shortly after that. And then we've been putting out albums ever since like 2003. So it's been about 10 years of albums now.
Det sa Frank Mullen, vokalist i Suffocation. Og siden vi nå holder på med et langt Suffocation-intervju her i Jernverket, passer det å åpne det med å spille en av låtene fra debutplata deres, Involuntary Slaughter, hentet fra Effigy of the Forgotten. Suffocation og Involuntary Slaughter her på Jernverket på Radio Rocks FM 90,1. Og vi holder på å spille av et intervju med nettopp Suffocation som jeg gjorde under Inferno-festivalen i helga. Jeg snakker med vokalist Frank Mullen, og han fortalte meg at turneringen har blitt mye lettere etter internett og mobiltelefon kom. Ikke bare fordi det gjør det lettere å holde kontakt med familien, men også fordi at Suffocation har hatt en lei tendens til å glemme igjen Frank på rasteplasser og flyplasser. Hør på det her.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I've been left a few times, and it always seems to be like right around like a bathroom break type situation where the bus has been parked like all night, and then I'll get up earlier than most of the other guys, so like I'm like, all right, well, we've been here for all night, so let me just get off the bus real quick, use the bathroom, come back, everyone's still sleeping, you don't think anything of it. A lot of times you can't find the driver's not there, so like I'm assuming he's inside or whatever, and this, that, and hanging. So I got off the bus one time. The first time it happened, it was in Spain. I got off the bus, and that was in the early 90s. So I didn't know what to do. Like, I got off the bus, went inside, came back out, and I'm like, the bus was parked right here. And then I couldn't find it, so then I was like, well, either A, they're going to find out sooner or later, or B, I'm just going to be living here at this rest stop because, like, I had nothing on me. I had no, no money, no nothing, so, like, no way to call or anything. And then nowadays, most everybody, you have cell phones on you, things like that, so you can get in touch with somebody. So I guess about an hour down the road, they realized that I wasn't on. And then they realized, okay, well, the only place where we stopped was that rest stop. So they came around, and sure enough, there I am sitting on the corner, on the curb, and they pull in. And so, and another time, the other time that was probably even crazier was I got left at an airport. I was around a bathroom situation. Like, we landed, and we had a quick changeover going down to, I think it was Ecuador. No, down to Peru. So what happened was we got in, went, grabbed something quick to eat. They were still eating, the rest of the guys, and I'm like, I'm going to go, and I'll meet you right at the gate. I go down there, and this is what's messed up sometimes, too, about your bandmates, because, like, they should have made a stink, as far as I'm concerned, but because they knew I'm in the airport. Nobody gets up. Nobody says, "Hey, wait a minute! You can't close the door." Like he's in there, like he didn't leave. Cool. So I go. I don't hear anything in the bathroom. There's no Frank Mullen to the gate. Last call, whatever. So I wasn't even in there that long. Get up, go to the gate. I see there's nobody at the gate except for the two ladies, and I see the plane. The plane's still right there, and I was like, "Did they already board?" And she's like, "Where were you? We were calling for you, and da-da." And I'm like, I was in the back. I said, I didn't hear anything. And so she's like, well, no, it's too late. The door's closed or whatever. We can't open the door. I was like, you don't understand. I have to get to this show. I see the plane. Sure enough, plane left or whatever. And then I had to figure out a way to get the next flight, which then flew me to Panama and then back down to...
So you got the concert. You made it.
Yeah, I made it. But, so I'm resourceful. I'll get there. I'll figure it out. I'll get there. But so I try to keep things to the minimum now. So I try not to miss flights or miss things.
But have you ever missed shows because of things like this?
No, never missed the show. Always managed to get there. The other time was in France, and I'd gotten off in Belgium again, and they drove all the way from Belgium to France without realizing I wasn't in the bus. They get to France, they realize I'm not on. They had to have some guy drive from France all the way back to the spot where I was at, and then drive all the way back. I got there probably about an hour before we were supposed to go on.
Wow.
So,
pretty stressful.
But yeah. So I try not to do that anymore.
Frank Mullen fra Suffocation som snakker der. Og det også Frank som har fått plukket ut mesteparten av musikken i Jernverket i dag. Det første vi skal høre fra han Napalm Death med The Code is Red. Long live the code. Litt annet enn det vi vant med her på Jernverket på Radio Rocks der. Blant by the Sun heter bandet med Dracula with Glasses. En melodi som plukket ut av Suffocation-vokalist Frank Mullen. Og det han vi har snakket med i Jernverket her i dag. Suffocation jo hyllet som et av de virkelig innflytelsesrike bandene i death metal-sjangeren. De blitt trukket frem som innovatører og pionerer. Men hva egentlig som gjør dem fortjent til det her? Vokalist Frank Mullen han sier at de beæret over å få den skryten, og forteller her hvorfor han tror de blir sett på som litt annerledes.
When we grew up, it was Long Island, New York, so I listened to everything. It wasn't just, you weren't just into one category of music. It wasn't just black metal. It wasn't just thrash. It wasn't just, we listened to it all. So our music incorporates a little piece of all of that. Whether it's a little bit of thrash that was in there, death metal, hardcore, for the breakdown. So we incorporate everything that we kind of grew up on and what we listened to. So I think at the time when the band first came out, it was completely different than what a lot of the other bands were doing at the time. So so that's the only thing that I can think of that where people have said you guys were innovators of doing that, and it's just because just where we grew up and just how we wanted to put the music out there. We didn't want it to just be either just really really fast or really slow and heavy. We wanted elements of all of that. So I kveld det vokalist I Suffocation, Frank Mullen, som har mye av ansvaret for musikken I Jernverket. Clutch og Escape from the Prison Planets var plukket ut av han.
Og vi godt I gang med et Suffocation-intervju her. I stad så rundet vi av spørsmålet der de ble hyllet som et innflytelsesrikt band I death metal-sjangeren. Og vi gikk videre med å snakke om førsteplata, The Effigy of the Forgotten, som sett på som en milepæl. Jeg spurte Frank hvorfor han trodde det, og han begynte da etter hvert å snakke om den dårlige produksjonen av andre skiva Breeding the Spawn. La oss høre hva han hadde å si om det.
At the time, the music for that was, definitely like over the top compared to a lot of the things. And, because I have friends of mine, and even like Derek, our bass player, like he's younger than us. So he tells us this story all the time where, like, he had bought Effigy of the Forgotten and listened to it. And he's like, this is crazy. I don't even know what's going on with it. So he gave that to a friend of his who had gotten, I think he said like Morbid Angel, Blessed Are the, it was something like that. So he had gotten that, and then he said within like 2 or 3 days, he was like, I need that Suffocation back, because like, I don't know, like so he got it back, and then he was like, I just had to absorb it, and then it was like sick. Production wise, I mean, it's hard because like those were the days of tape and reel and things like that. I mean, we went down to Morris Sound with Scott Burns, and he had done so many other bands at that point. And I think for the time, I think it came out as a great production. Breeding the Spawn is the one that came out really horrible, because Breeding the Spawn, we were going to go to Scott Burns, but the record label wouldn't allow it. We were like, are you kidding? Like, Scott Burns was easy to work with. He's a great guy. He knows what he's doing. And then now you want us to find somebody? So we got kind of stuck where we were trying to find, different recording engineers. Nothing was working out, so then now we had more of a budget, so we went back to the place where we did Human Waste. And Human Waste is not the greatest production either. And so we went back there thinking, okay, with more of a budget, more time and things like that, we could probably get this done. And it was a nightmare. It was like some songs, the drums sounded one way, then they sounded another way, and it was like you could just hear it. It was like it's all over the place on that album, and that's kind of why we've been adding like breeding songs to each of our albums, so you get an idea of what it would sound like with a real production. So like on this, the Pinnacle of Bedlam album, we put Beginning of Sorrow. We put that song on there and gave it a real production and everything. So now you can, and that's kind of what we've been doing throughout all our albums is adding breeding songs at the end. It's kind of like a bonus clip or whatever, and you hear the way it's supposed to sound, because we got totally screwed on that album. And then that's why on Piercing Within, Roadrunner was like, do what you want. If you want to go to Scott Burns, we're not going to say anything, go ahead and do it, because they knew they messed up. Yeah. So.
Du hørte Frank Mullen, vokalist I Suffocation, uttale seg der. Og hva vel mer naturlig enn å spille Morbid Angel, som egentlig ga navnet sitt til Suffocation med låta Suffocation. Vi hørte Morbid Angel med Suffocation her på Jernverket på Radio Rocks FM 90,1. Og den var plukket ut av Frank Mullen, som vokalist I Suffocation, og det nettopp han vi har intervju med her I kveld. Vi skal høre mer fra han straks, etter en liten pause og Carcass. Du hører på Radio Rocks FM 90,1. Det her Jernverket, og vi fikk nettopp Carcass med Lavaging Expectorate of Lysergid Composite, en låt som var plukket ut av vokalist I Suffocation, Frank Mullen. Og han har vi snakket med her I nesten hele kveld. Intervjuet nærmer seg dessverre slutten, men en del av dere som Suffocation-fans har sikkert lurt på hvor det ble av DVD-en som var lovet, Legacy of Violence. Jeg spurte Frank hva som hadde skjedd her, og hvorfor den aldri kom ut.
Yes, I feel horrible because it's like, and it's a lot of great footage, and I'm pissed because it's like we given this project to this guy John Bigford, and he come recorded a bunch of shows. Like he came out to us and recorded, you know, us hanging out, doing things like, you know, me going out at a gun range or like this, that, you know, so like behind the scenes stuff, you know, us hanging out with our friends, partying, this, that, you know, so you get to see kind of like what it's like also outside of doing the band stuff. And he got a lot of great footage. And then like, so, you know, so every time we'd be asking him like, you know, like, okay, is it almost ready? Like we want something now, like, you know, because that was 2010. So when the self-titled album was getting ready to come out, it was like, okay, yeah, we want to release it right around the same time. Is it going to be ready? You know, like I still want to get this, or I still want to. Fine. Then Blood Oath, you know, like we want to release something in between, like, and then it just got to the point where we were like, you know, like forget it. Like, you know, like, you know, you're not doing anything, you know. So we have a guy now that did our newest video, As Grace Descends, and he also did the making of DVD for the new album that's in there. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. It's what we did on this Pinnacle of Bedlam. You get either you get the CD or you get the CD and the making of DVD. It's about an hour and a half or whatever, and it went into the whole background of putting this album together, and you know, interviews with all the guys and stuff like that. And he did a really nice job with that. So he did that on this, and he also did like a lyrical video for one of the new songs and stuff like that. So, but he's gonna take everything that the other guy had, plus add some new stuff, and then he's going to put something together. So
the material.
So keep on fingers crossed that it will get done sometime within this year time frame or something like that. Like because he's really spot on. Like this guy, you know, I mean, he put that making of DVD together in no time.
Du har hørt et Suffocation-intervju fra 2013. Likte du det, kan du for eksempel høre episodene med Autopsy, Bloodbath og Kadaver. Neste vekka kommer det et splitter nytt intervju som ikke er tatt opp over telefon. Omsider! Death by Unga Bunga.
Jeg kan jo bare snakke på vegne av oss alle i hele Østfold. Men det er sånn, Østfold kommer jo til å forbli Østfold, og østfoldinger. Og så folk fra Bærum og Asker får være den de er. Du klarer ikke å merge de folkeslaga der noensinne.
Abonner på Jernverket podcast via podcast-app eller gå inn på jernverket.com. Det legger det fullt av episoder du kan kose deg med, og spre gjerne ordet. Vil du bidra med litt penger for at jeg skal kunne fortsette, kan du gi støtte via Patreon eller Vips. Og da er det også kult om du slenger inn en god anmeldelse av podden der du lytter. 5 stjerner, vet. Og husk på å følge Jernverket på Instagram og Facebook for konkurranser, diskusjoner og musikalske tips. Jeg heter Helle Steinkløv og gir deg et nytt eller gammelt hardrock-intervju hver fredag. Vi høres!